Oh, it's recording.
Shivering the cultural magic of the town. 30 years later, he has successfully blended both nature and culture into Neo Nusantara, not only as a garden designed based on 5 senses philosophy, but also incorporating our cultural heritage into a concept that all Malaysians can be proud of. Truly a Malaccan-born kampung boy, he has achieved a milestone for all of us by introducing Neo Nusantara and consequently Malaysian artistic and cultural products into Europe via the Jardina 2005 International Garden and Lifestyle event and through export to the UK. So with great honour, allow me to present Desmond Ho, the creator of the Neo Nusantara Concept Gardens, to talk about the beauty and pleasure of outdoor living.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Ong, and I believe Mr. Ong has enlightened all of you on how to make a lot of money, what property to invest and all. But today, what I'm going to talk about is more about beauty and pleasure. And in this aspect, but how to relate it to your living environment. That is your surrounding your home and surrounding your property. Alright, anyway, I'm Desmond Ho, and this is Terra Garden. There's a group of company that we set up, and we and a little bit history about Terra Garden. Basically, in 1988, we started our operation by building terrarium. Like aquarium is fish in glass container. Terrarium is a plant in the glass container. Right? And 1992, we started out with indoor plants, and then we started our first garden center. Just like sundry shop into a supermarket, this nursery into a garden center. So we started in Subang. And in year 2000, we started a concept called Neo Nusantara, which is new, and Nusantara is actually the Malay archipelago, and it's actually a concept based on Malaysian culture as well. And of course, we have our biotech element as well. We have collaboration with UITM as well as Spring, and we do a lot of tissue culturing and a bit of biotech. And here is our garden center in Subang, very quickly around through. And what is Neo Nusantara? Neo Nusantara is actually we design and build outdoor living spaces. A lot of time actually you have interior designer building your interior spaces. You know, interior designing, you have your living room. Now living room, they have 2 living rooms. One is formal living room, another one is family living room. Even dining room also you have 2. You see? And people keep on building and building and building, but they're building indoor, forgetting the outdoor, forgetting that. So outdoor is where the pleasures of nature. Outdoor is actually where the place you receive pleasure from nature. And if you neglect that, then you won't experience that pleasure of nature. And this is what actually we do here. And of course, because our work is based on our local culture and craft only, and that is why we call it Malaysian Garden. I'm a living, breathing specimen of a truly Malaysian. As you know, I think Malaccan, you know a lot of babas, right? So these are the babas that, you know, they have experience from the Malay kampung and the Chinese culture, and of course all the Indian like Japanese garden. But this is the difference. If you look at lattice work, English lattices, they are diamond shaped, and Japanese lattices, they are uniform square. And you look at our lattice work, it's based on kind cut design. And this is very uniquely us. Okay? And of course the pumpkin is a sitting area in the kampung under a shady tree. You will get a lot of this nice sitting area under shady tree. This very, very us as well. And our kuda is derived from, you know, once I saw this makcik in the kampung, sitting down, kuda plank, the metal piece scraping how we got the idea from coconut scraper. It's an informal sitting area. You can sit here with your arm resting there and drink. Now you can sit this way around, or you sit this way around, you put your laptop, it becomes a workbench. Right? And of course our water feature dalam meeting Bukit Ketumbit in Kerawang based on our flora and fauna. And these are also our own creation. We fabricate this, we design the application and the motif, and we fabricate it with local craftsmen. And currently I'm working one actually series of nature series, the Pucuk Rebong in Jantung Pisang series with some craftsmen from Jalan Tukang Besi, so it's Malacca. And we are promoting this overseas. So you can see that you can be proud that our craftsmen from local here, Malacca, is actually coming out with products that is world standard. And this to show you a little bit about how we do our research. And this is our Jantung design, you can see, from concept to product, how we come up with our concept. So it is not that we go down to Bali and then start a container load of things and then bring it back and say, call it our concept. So it must have some identity. It's just like, the country also is just like human beings. You know, when your children, kids, they are carefree in their life. So they do anything. That's why they are very happy. As they grow older and then they become adolescent, so that's where the confused stage, where they search for their identity. It's the most confusing stage. Just like the country currently right now, from developing towards developed stage. So this is some of the work that we are doing in this current moment. But that is all start. Start is just a start. Any start, English start, Japanese start, but this is a substance. The substance is actually to stimulate 5 senses at about the same time. We talk about sight. Only beautiful things attract. If people are attracted to beautiful places, then they want to come near. When you come near, then you must be rewarded by touch. Our interpretation is place you can sit down and relax, or you sit down having a cup of coffee, and imagine you're sitting down in a nice, beautiful place, and you are actually hearing the sound of water. I got sound, I forgot. This is our sound. So, and if you're sitting down in a nice, soothing environment, nice, beautiful place with nice, soothing sound, suddenly the sweet of wind blow, you get a smell from your fragrant plant, and a few of you sitting down having a cup of coffee or tea, during sunset, sunrise, or full moon, starry night, that is the idea. That is what you're searching for in your living environment. Okay? Okay, these are the 5 senses just now I expressed. Some of the award we won, I mean, we have got a good design award from Japan, and some of the other awards that, and of course, lately we have been to Zurich, Switzerland, as well as in Ireland. So there's 2 countries now, and we are selling them. No, we are actually introducing not a garden furniture or not. It's not a water feature. It's a concept. It's a new Nusantara concept. And this quickly I'll run through some of our series based on Pangkin Putri Ledang series. I call it after Gunung Ledang, places where I used to go camping and all that. And you can see that how interaction, family interaction. These are 4 modular, no hacking, no digging, no concreting, no cement work. It's very fast and modular, just like Lego. You can put it up together, and then we made into a 4 set. This is to introduce in the KL market, because before that there's no such thing. So people, very difficult to accept. So we have to come up with this small little concept that we introduce to them. And this is how we started. You can see the small concept here. And here is the before of that. But before that, I want to express, in nature there's a lot of beauty. So some people spend so much money, like, I need relax, I want peace of mind. So I buy air tickets, go down to an island resort or somewhere, and then take a breather. So you look at this. Yeah? So why can't you bring this beauty? It's actually the sun, the moon, the stars. So I just run through quickly. This is what we're imagining always when we're relaxing, part of nature and all that. Like kids, they're interesting. They actually can teach you a lot about nature. And of course for meditation purpose. Here is before. You can see very small space before and after. From just a balcony, small spaces. how you can transform it. This is actually a rooftop garden. It belongs to this Datuk Syarani Syapadu's boss. Inshallah, they have this big, huge opening on top. They put air conditioning, compressor, all up there, you know. And this is what this is before, after. And actually entertaining house and all that stuff. Small spaces, you see here. And after, sorry, I didn't blocking you. Okay. Something like you come back home, you know, after a hard day work, even at night, you say, I ever got time want to enjoy my garden, I work until 8, 9 o'clock, come back home. Right? No. It's that 5 minutes or the 15 minutes or 10 minutes, park your car, sit down there, take off your shoes, take off your socks, you know, and just, especially after rain, the smell of the air. This is what we're talking about. And you can see before, after as well. Some more, yeah, there's some more before, after. Balcony spaces. I think I will do like this. I'm blocking you, sir. Alright?
Wait, yes.
Alright. Okay? Oh, sorry. So you can see some of balcony spaces. This is another typical house in KL that we have done. You see that they normally when there's no idea, it's a good idea actually when you don't have any idea what to do with your garden and you have a big garden, just lawn it, you know, turf it up and then plant. And then until after 1 year you get sore in your eyes, you know. You're looking at this empty space, spend so much money, how much money to pay the extra land, you know. In prime areas sometimes you have to pay a lot for this land. But you are not utilizing it. So sometimes it's very difficult to understand. And you see this how this is some of before and after. Yeah, this is another typical semi-D. More places. This is another. This is before us we interpret Malaysian garden like that, no? Common. You will drop the property by 15%. So this is how you increase it another 15%. You see? And not only you increase your property, but you know, it's for your soul. You come back home, you get more relaxation. I can see in your eyes already now. You can imagine, right? Quickly to run through. There's no small spaces or odd spaces and saying that my land is too small, I cannot do anything. Recently I did one house actually, very interesting. In Malacca. Too bad it's not here, it's invited here actually.
He's invited.
Huh?
He's invited. He's my neighbor.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Yeah, he's invited, he's not here. You've been to his place?
He's my neighbor.
Yeah, so you see, I mean, he loves to enjoy wine and all that. We even have a small little bar there. And that is the first time actually we did a bar. Actually we listened to the customer and we tailored it. And I think they're enjoying it. Yeah. They gave me 2 bottles of wine the other day. So you can see some of here. What I want to try and show you is that this is typical, small space like that in the corner, and now you can transform it. And even you have an old tired garden, like an old tired garden, do not despair, do not give up already lah. No, shouldn't. You can convert it too. Okay. And courtyard as well, very interesting. And corner semi-D or bungalow, you have this side corner area. This is how from living room you look out. Okay. Yeah. These are some of our project. These are some in the condominium in KL. You can see some of which you revoke. Especially condominium, you have that view that landed property don't have. Hardly they have, unless you're in a high ground. The view of sunset view or sunrise, this is what you want. So how to invite this view into your home? That is a lot. If you don't do anything, the balcony just left as it is. You put a curtain, not only the curtain, you have the double one more if you want the light to come in. So you're locking yourself out. Rules of thumb to harness pleasure for Mother Nature is not to put barriers. Not only barriers in physical form, but barriers in thought. Because there's a lot of barriers in thought. That, how to go in, so hot. I've been working all my life in the air conditioning environment, the bankers and all that. How you ask me to go and sit down there? Not only that, then it was cool, just nice, cool enough to go out. And then the mosquito come and disturb. Right? Not only mosquito, and then the frog lah, everything. You know, and then I have water, then the tadpole come, and then the frog come, and then making a lot of noise. It's already sometimes, then they start catching the tadpoles and then throw it away and all that. And start to introduce fish, or sometimes, you get all this, they think the fish will eat the tadpole, but no, fish also don't like to eat tadpole because it's bitter. But don't ask me how I know it. Yes, but if you change our thinking a bit, shift our paradigm a bit. You know, I have this guy, a friend of mine, he set up a huge pond, and then he started to introduce different types of frogs. And during mating season, you can imagine, because different frogs, they create different sounds. It's just like an orchestra, and seriously, after that, you calm down and sit down, it's quiet, and you listen, it's music. But if you are a busy man and then you don't care too good about Mother Nature, don't straight go into that. Slowly. You need to harness pleasure for Mother Nature slowly, one step at a time. So there's beauty of nature, like after rain, the smell of fresh air, sunrise, sunset, and the star, the moon. When the last time you guys look at the star or the moon? Or maybe the magic is a bit gone out, huh? But about 5 days ago, 5 or 6 days ago, I think it's full moon, right? A beautiful moon. So nobody can take this view away from us. That is where, when you look up. And you have a garden space, and you have a garden space that can look up. Even your terrace houses also, that small space also you can look up. But you look in front, you look left, you look right, maybe you look at neighbors' houses and all that. Now they say bungalow is no more bungalow, it's called terrace bungalow. Well, the guy would call it terrace bungalow. You got only 10 feet away, and then that's it. So, but nobody can take away the view, the top view. So if you can secure properly, have some privacy, then you can actually throw some cushion, you can actually lie down. And I guarantee you the view. And then you don't do it every time. When the moment is right, when the mood is right, the company is right, then you go out and you do it. This is how it is like, outdoor living. Now you can see how you can throw cushion, you can lie down and look up. Yeah? Small spaces. And while you're looking up, or out, you can hear the sound of water. And especially at night, if you're aquatic plant and your movement in the water, you get this dancing light effect. On the plant, on the leaves surrounding on the wall or lattices, they create that mood. Put a little bit of candle around, and then at night, normally the smell of the fragrance plant comes out. It's not the ghost that comes out. Fragrance plants normally gives out the fragrance during early morning and evening. Why they say, oh yeah, this one's graveyard plant. Poor that frangipani, it's actually introduced during the British era because they plant in graveyard area. Because if you know, graveyard, after they bury the corpse and all that, 2 weeks you get a smell of it. So decomposition and all. But by introducing all these plants, you actually even out a bit of smell. And the plant keep on growing because very healthy, a lot of fertilizer. So it grew, and frangipani has got that characteristic, like you got arm and all that. And you walk in the evening when the leaf is the canopy is big enough, it creates that kind of bit of eerie feeling. And that's when the smell comes out in the evening. You pass by, your hair also can stand. So then they relate it, graveyard plant, soil, this and that. No. But if you really don't want, there's a lot of other plants that can give off fragrance. So introduce. Make sure you introduce to places where you sit down, near to you. Alright? And you can see some of this. This is actually in Malacca, it's in Yara, owned by John. It's a white guy. And yes, this is an outdoor shower with WC. What they rented, they look at there is back because they have this property that at the back there's a bit of, they lack a bit of that old forest vegetation to buffer from the golf course. So they're looking out, and then people cannot look back to them, but they have this green screening and a swimming pool at the side. And then some of the sitting area, yeah. And when you talk about outdoor living, you don't just close your mind, meaning that you just go out there and sit down, enjoy your plant. No, outdoor living. Whatever you can do indoor, you can do outdoor. You can eat indoor. Can you eat outdoor? You can set your table properly, put some candle, and the whole family. It's only once every Saturday evening. You come out and have your dinner with your family. But that is how you do it. Alright? And not only dining, you can not. Sunday morning you get up, with your pajamas and all, coffee and newspaper, you can so it can be a play area for children. Tell your children, they will. And then especially now, as a young kid growing up in a village area, we used to look forward to weekends and school holidays where we can just, call a few of neighbors and friends, run to the stream and catch fish, Catch fish in the clear, nice stream. I'm sure or some of you can remember this. But now, will you allow your kids now to go? There's no more stream, but longkang now. To go and catch fish? No, no more. But if you have a small little pond or water feature around it, you have to clean, right? And that's why sometimes they say, maintenance high. But if you look at it, the cleaning, the process, you tell your kid, come, let's play, catching some fish. Catch a fish, put in the paper, go in, and then after that, drain some water out, and clean the pond out, and fill the water back. It can be fun. Simple things like that. So it doesn't mean that you have to get your mate to do it. And these are simple pleasures, simple things that kids will enjoy, and as well as teach your parents. Not end up in front of TV or in front of the just PlayStation. Small things that you can see. So these are balcony spaces that we show there. Okay. Some people have the privilege of bigger land or garden spaces. So what we advise is actually we compartmentalize it. Just like in your house, in indoor, you have your room, from your living room, your dining room. The same thing you can do outdoor. So you can imagine how you can add value to your property. Yeah? And not only that, you are actually enjoying it. Not only adding value, but you are enjoying it at the same time. A lot of times, people in Malacca, Penang is good. They spend a lot of money in food. Food means never mind. Eat whatever you want to eat. The Chinese can go makan first, no problem. But they forgot. Why can't you spend a little bit of money on food for your soul? So this is the thing we're talking about. So sometimes it's not much, but the reward you will get is a lot. How kids can interact. Thank you. And this is a courtyard area, some swimming pool side. Some specimen. This is the view that you want to look at when you come back home. That you want to come to this kind of places. Alright? And here, some other contraption, you can see hammock. Even hammock, you don't sit on it. By looking at it, will give you that relaxed mood. Okay? And that is what we want to share with you guys. I'm honored actually. I was told that you guys are the cream of Malacca. No. Yeah, I must say. So I'm honored actually to share some of this. This is the first invited me, and yes, I feel that it's the time actually I come back to my roots and share a little bit of outdoor living. And this concept of outdoor living is, a lot of people talk is landscaping, putting some plants, getting some plants from nursery and then just chuck it there. It's not just that, it's more in depth. So in Malacca, I believe you guys can achieve it much more easier, because the pace of life here is much slower than KL. So it is easier for you to absorb. You have more time actually to enjoy, and because I did some garden here with some prominent people as well, and I see that how it transformed their life. And of course, this one customer actually used it as entertaining their business colleagues and friends for business. So instead of bringing them to a hotel, then they come to my house. So I'd like to thank you, everybody, for inviting me today. And see, what we are expressing today is actually more of beauty and pleasure. So you cannot quantify it. And that's why I bring along two beautiful my assistants. Very nyonyaish, and please feel free as well to ask us any question or I open this privilege to all of you here today, because if you have any queries or doubts about your garden, if you have plan of the house plan, and then you can always email us, get our contact number, email to us. We will or give us some contact number, and we will help you to plan out, to tell you actually how actually you can harness, you can create these spaces in your living spaces, in your houses and all that. So thank you again.
Open for question and answers. Anyone would like to ask any questions? Mr. Ong or Desmond? By HSBC. Okay, the hosting of this event forms a valuable customers. Okay, Mr. Young will be brief.
The labor crop, again, you have the side of the house and the front of the house.
And then betul.
Good evening, good afternoon everyone. Excuse me for my protocol, actually. I'm a very informal person. So anyway, thanks to the the chairman and organizing committee, and to everyone here for inviting me. And today actually we want to talk about, what I would like to share is actually our interpretation of Malaysian garden. Okay, just to round up a little bit, macam mana saya dapat idea or how I embark on this project is because you know, I started by doing terrarium, dealing with plant, berjinak-jinak dengan pokok-pokok. Obviously, there will come a point of time I have customers who come and ask me, actually they wanted to do their gardens and all that, and this we are talking about urban area, kawasan-kawasan di Klang Valley. So these people normally have small little spaces, and then I got to pity because a lot of them been cooked up in small areas. So they say, tanah saya tak besar mana, so apa saya nak buat, you know, and ideas like that. So and there's another thing, the one incident that happened that actually spurred me to come up with this concept is one time we invited some friends from the city to the village. My kampung is Melaka. So, kita ada barbecue party di taman lah. So, came this small little girl running to the mother and said, Mommy, Mommy, I saw a feather duster running. Dia tak pernah tengok ayam hidup ya. Dia nampak ayam di supermarket, all the, without head and all that. So, it is these are the few things that actually encourage us in Terra Garden to come up with a concept that actually not only have our identity but as well as functional at the same time. Okay, I won't delay much, and here you can see my company called Terra Garden, and what we do is normally is our interpretation. I like to share this with you, so maybe to spur your thoughts a little bit. And Neo Nusantara is actually a name that we put forward for this concept. And why is Neo? Neo is new, and Nusantara is really the Malay archipelago, as you know. And as you know that our influence in Malaysia, we cannot run away. Our influence, kita daripada satu rumpun ya, and come from this region. So a lot of cultural and craft influence come from all over this region, not only in Nusantara area, but you can see from China, the Arab traders, Indian traders that come along. I am the living, breathing specimen, like you can say, from Malacca. I'm a Baba, so I know I live in this environment. And normally we tell people what we do is we design and build outdoor living spaces. And you can see this as Malaysia is here. Our influence comes from all over this region. And we don't interpret to the roots. What is Malaysians' strength? I mean, if you look at it, our idea we take from whatever culture and craft that came into Malaysia and existed there and blended together. Our strength in Malaysia is actually, it's like a melting pot of so many culture, diverse culture and craft that come together. If you were to go down and study to the roots, if you go down to Negeri Sembilan, I know you talk about the Minangkabau there, and if you study to the roots, then you end up in Sumatra. So where does it end? So our interpretation is we take whatever that came into Malaysia and existed in Malaysia, and we give it our interpretation that can be accepted at this time, this moment. Okay, a moment like in Subang Jaya, USJ, PJ. So we're talking about urban first. Of course, the kampung folk, they have their own garden. Anything outside the house is their garden, their interpretation. So from environment, like some of the speaker earlier mentioned, true. But in the city, where you cannot send your kids, pergi tangkap ikan dekat parit atau dekat longkang. You don't have that privilege anymore. So our interpretation is, since we cannot have that environment there, what we do is actually we create spaces where you can harness pleasure from Mother Nature. How you receive Mother Nature in the spaces. So that is our interpretation. Okay, some of you might ask, what is so Malaysian about it? There is about this Japanese garden, English garden, which have strong identity, as well as Balinese garden, because they have made popular by, I think Made Wijaya, and brought it all over the world. And that's why anybody look at any thick furniture or some Balinese lantern, they call it Balinese concept. But what is Malaysian? So now I'm about to show you is actually an interpretation from our point. It is an evolving concept. It's a concept that's going to go on and on. So I hope young people like you all can actually pay attention and see how actually this interpretation, and there will be one point of time, there will be new interpretation that come out that in line with it. Okay? Like you notice here, this lattice work. English lattices, they are diamond shaped, and Japanese lattices, they are uniform square. And actually we took this lattice pattern based on our kain pelekat. and the originality of it. You can't find this in Balinese garden or Thai gardens for that matter. So it is something, an interpretation that we can actually be proud of, and also the form of it has got, the style of it has got to be acceptable. And we are quite proud to say that after 5 years branding New Nusantara with Kain Blekat Lattice, I think we have a good strong followers from even architects and of course landscape architects and landscape contractor alike. Yeah. And of course our interpretation of sitting area is in the garden is pumpkin. Normally people say garden benches, straight away your mind thought of English garden benches, you know, with the wrought iron Victorian garden benches. So these are the few things, small little things that really pay attention. I mean, if you look at it, will make the image of the garden, or will increase the impact of the garden. And obviously, I'm sure all of you here, semua kita tahu kan pumpkin. Normally, I explain to foreigners who ask about what's so Malaysian about your garden. I will explain to them about how the farmers actually use the pumpkin in the village, and that is very uniquely us. Of course, pumpkin pun kita ada kat Indonesia, you know, I call Bali and all that kind of. But this is an interpretation from us, yeah. And this is another contraption. We call it kuda. It's actually informal sitting benches that we create. You can actually imagine you can sit here with your arm here, and you can have your laptop here, and you sit cross-legged here. You can be a workbench. Or we got this idea actually while watching a masjid in the kampung. Sitting down on a plank of wood, at the end of it there's this metal piece where they kukuh kelapa. So it is an idea spur from there, and then we improve it, and this is actually part of the concept. Yeah, of course you can see some of our oval lighting here, and the Dayang Bunting water feature. This is what we have done. If you notice that countries like Thailand, Indonesia, they use a lot of urns, pots in their garden design and all that. So we cannot run away because we are in this region. So it's just a different interpretation. The Thai normally use the pot a lot in pouring. And if you notice the Balinese, the Indonesian, actually they fill up the whole pot. They have a nice decorative pot. They actually fill up the whole pot and went to the brim, and it overflows to the side. So that is your interpretation. And you look at here, what we did is actually we force the water up to the top here, and actually we have some ukiran that based on flora and fauna. It is a lot of, you know, you boleh gunakan banyak ukiran yang kita dah ada kan, seperti macam sama ada kerawang, awan larat, or itik pulang petang sekali lah. It depends on who interpret it, yeah. But here we based on very simple carving, and we including an aquatic light down there. And then when the water flow down to the side and the light trying to escape, we create a very shimmering effect. The function of it, this beautiful thing, that is actually enticed in the garden. That is what we're trying to achieve. And that is not just another interpretation or another water feature that you travel to Bali and bring it back and then implement it in your garden. So there is a lot more, I think, contraption that you can try to achieve. Like here we work with a group of pot maker from Cemor Ipoh. We give them the design and application, and then they come up with the end product. So that's how we work, and 100% of our work is actually based locally. It come up from local craftsmen itself. So here you can see there is the craftsman working here, and this is part of our activities when doing our research. And you can see here very quickly from from concept to product, how we come out. This is our nature series we call Jantung Pisang and Pucuk Rebung. Okay? And we are quite proud to say that currently we already promoted these products all in, or the concept rather, in Switzerland, Zurich and Ireland. And they are not buying garden furniture, or they are not buying water feature. They are actually accepting the concept as it is. They look at us very mysterious people, you know. If you ask them where's Asia, they will say China or Japan. They don't know where's Malaysia. But when mentioned about the Southeast Asian region, they look at us all very mysterious. So let us be mysterious to them, and then come up with more mysterious things. Yeah. So that is all style, I say. So this is the function. Always I talk about the function of stimulating the 5 senses at about the same time in one place. I will go try and go very quickly. You see, the sight touch. My interpretation is very simple. Sorry. Sight. To me, sight is actually only beautiful things attract. If it's not beautiful, forget about it. You know, especially in garden. You are not going to put in some plants for, you know, harvesting and all that. Unless you're actually doing some vegetable gardens and all. So, beauty has got to be there first. So if you're attracted to beautiful places, you want to come here. That's where you must be rewarded by touch. Interpretation is places you can sit down, lie down, or throw some cushion, you can enjoy the environment. Imagine you're sitting down in a nice, beautiful place, and then you hear the sound of trickling water. And when the sweep of wind blows, you get the smell from your fragrance plant that you incorporate surround you. And a few of you having a cup of coffee or tea in this environment during sunrise, sunset. So this is what we're talking about, the pleasure in the garden. If you cannot achieve that, then the garden will be a nuisance. Okay? And these are some of the awards that will run through quickly, and the places that we have brought our concept to. And we are quite proud to say that if people out there actually look at us very highly, and we have to quickly come up with, it's not more interpretation, I think more solid interpretation of what Malaysian garden should look like. And here in Terra Garden, in New Nusantara concept, we actually open to collaborate, we like input actually from anybody that would like to work with us. And we like actually to share. It is the art of sharing. We like to share what actually we have found and what actually we have discovered here. And this is some of, because you require multi-discipline in trying to put something together. I've heard a lot of talk and of interpretation of Malaysian garden, but what I'm trying to say is we need some end product. So you've got nothing to show. You can talk all the day, all you want to talk, but yeah, you need to show something end of the day, right? So this is our modular pumpkin series that we made it to overseas. We'll run through very quickly. Yeah, we use the Pumpkin Putri Ledang series. So after our mentors and legend. Some of the before-after picture that we implement, because we use a modular system, it's easy to export and easy to implement, so it's good for commercial aspect of it. And you can see before and after. Some of our project profile, okay. So we started from small spaces, very, very small, intimate spaces, and then we work ourselves out from there. So this is some even this is just to address the slope problem, okay, and some water features, central statement. This college Islam in Bangi, part of our work, yeah, okay. So as you can see, these are just an interpretation from our point of view. Obviously, as time goes on, there will be new interpretation, but it should have a very distinct and because Bali has been ahead of us, so it's quite a tough challenge actually, And then actually Balinese, as you say, they're based on Hinduism, a lot of Hinduism influence. It's much more easier to interpret, but for Malaysians here, we have a challenge, a big challenge. So, but I think that is where it's more challenging. As more challenging it is, the result will be more interesting. Okay, I'll quickly run through. These are some of our past jobs that we have done, and that's about all. And I'd like to thank again for inviting me here. And please don't hesitate if you'd like to understand a bit more about Nusantara. Come by to our garden center in Subang. All right. Thank you very much.